Hello, Brubs. We're back with more books. New arrivals, that is. Llewellyn's 2006 Magical Almanac, which I've just found out has some woot to damage. I don't know if it's... I don't even know what these books are about. I have several of them, but I don't know what the hell they're about, actually. Your prayer bead purposes. The purpose of your prayer beads. How synchronicity empowers you. Why is it different every year? Why? God and Monsters of the Winter Solstice by Lily Gardner. The Forest God, the Cailleach, Lohi, and Skadi. Wedding Superstitions by Sherry Richardson. That's weird because I just bought this book, bruv. This is not really a book, it's more like a pamphlet from a doctor from the 1930s. The Dream Book of Bridal Superstitions, bruv. How do you think about that? A mother's love. The baby's little curdled bum was absent from school on account of ill health, but she took the pills, bruv. Alright, so there's that. Wizards, Wardrobes, and Wookiees. Does Wookiees really have two E's? Wookie-Ees. Navigating Good and Evil in Harry Potter, Narnia, and Star Wars by Connie Neal. I always pick up these sort of books. Religious tracts on what is good and not. I think it's religious. Yeah. For millions of children and adults alike, these names and their stories are as familiar as those of close friends and family. Is that really true? We read and watch their adventures over and over, and your mother is nowhere more known than Darth Vader is, bruv. I don't believe that's true. The Only Street in Paris, Life on the Rue des Martyrs by Elaine Sciolino. Very excellent shape, anyway. I don't even know what year this is from. I just grabbed it because I've been on a little Napoleon run. So why not grab it, bruv? 2016. Anyone who loves Paris, I have never been there and I'll never go there. Never want to go there. Europe is a dead culture. European culture is dead. And I am European, so I can say that. I mean, you could say it too, but you're probably too much of a coward to admit it. When Darkness Falls, Tales of San Antonio Ghosts and Hauntings by Docia Schultz-Williams. Been to Texas briefly. Driving through from the West Coast back to Michigan, but I'll never go to San Antonio most likely, and it's not a bad thing. Here's the thing about travel that I will tell you, and you will say, no, it's true, if you have any honesty in your bones, that it don't matter where you go, people are basically the same pieces of garbage. It's just the scenery changes, so, I mean, yeah, go look at a mountain, go stare at the ocean, but, yeah, you pretty much get the same people everywhere. Let's pull this book up, bruv. SETI. Probably should see if I can screw this or turn the screws in this SETI to. Maybe I like the creaking actually. Cares of what you like. All 500. I want to make a special announcement to the 505 people following me. You're an idiot. Actually, you're not an idiot, but if you think it means anything, you're an idiot. Oh yeah, Wheels of World. Wheels of World, yeah. Great reading there, brother. Wheels for the World. Henry Ford, his company, and a century of progress. Obviously, I'm in Detroit area, so the Detroit area. So Henry Ford is a giant decade of nightmares. The end of the 60s and the making of 80s America. Who's this? Reagan getting shot? Yeah, I recognize that guy. Show his mustache, come on. The guy's probably Illuminati. Remember, if I remember correctly, he pulled out a automatic weapon to fire at the sumbitch if he could. Why did the youthful optimism and openness of the 60s give way to the spirit of conservative reaction? Well, because they were both basically all Marxist and they hate America. And I know that people say, they don't hate America, but they do. They do. They want it to become something it ain't. They want it to be Europe. They want it to be Canada. They want it to be Cuba and Bolshevik Russia. But, and I mean, they're winning, obviously. And the opposition to the Marxists are basically statists. And a statist will never beat a Marxist. Only the threat of annihilation will beat them. Not only the threat, but the promise. Galapagos, Kurt Vonnegut. I believe I already have this book, but where did I pick this up? Oh yeah, I got this for $1 at the One Stole. Half off today at the Stole. That's where I got that Ford book and this book too. So Delacorte Press, Seymour Library, 1985. Basically a 40-year-old book for $1. Obviously worth way more with the jacket. The stories of Paul Bowles. I don't really know much about Paul Bowles. In fact, I don't really know anything about Paul. I know he's not very good, and I think I've read a few pages of his books and was completely bored. So, the short fictions of American literary cult figure Paul Bowles is marked by a unique, delicately spare style and a dark, rich, exotic mood by turns chilly and ironic, and I guarantee they're not any of those things. They always prop up these sort of writers. Paul Bowles, what's that fucking Saul Bellow, Jim Harrison, who's the guy that wrote Tortilla Curtain? What's that dick's name? T. Corrigeson Boyle. I mean, these guys aren't good. Let's read a page just to see. Tea on the Mountain. The mail that morning had brought her a large advance from her publishers. At least, it looked large to her there, in the international zone where life was cheap. She had opened the letter at a table of the sidewalk cafe opposite the Spanish post office. The emotions she felt at seeing the figures on the check had made her unexpectedly generous to the beggars that constantly filed past. Then the excitement had worn off, and she felt momentarily depressed. The streets and the sky seemed brighter and stronger than she. She had of necessity made very few friends in the town, and although she worked steadily every day at her novel, she had to admit that sometimes she was lonely. Driss came by wearing a spotless mauve blah 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 over his shoulders and a new fez on his head. There you go, that's the sort of thing you're getting here, but I figured it was a 50-cent exchange for about a $7 book. This one, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, I picked up at the store I'm going to tomorrow, which is a Salvation Army thrift store, and its book sells for between $12 and $20, roughly. So I'll probably list it for about 15 to 20 since it's in great shape. Make a little profit, and then, yeah, all these books are free then. Fanny Hill, This and only this is the complete $6 Putnam edition making today's headlines. John Cleland's Memoirs of a Woman of Pleasure. After 214 years of suppression, I believe I have another book, another edition of this, which is untitled, but I don't know. I may be wrong. Maybe I'll read that book and this one. Not much up for, what's it called, softcore porn, erotica kind of deal, but whatever. It's interesting enough. Everybody's Book of Epitaphs, being for the most part what the living think of the dead, compiled by W.H. Howe. Bede, who died in AD 735 at the age of 39, has a tomb on which is inscribed Hoc sunt in fossa Bede venerabilis usa. I mean, yeah, no one knows what that means, except dead people. Reverend John, I'm not reading all this, Robin Hood. On the tomb of Count Tessin, governor of Gustavus III of Sweden, written by himself. Tandem Felix, happy at last. That's a cheerful guy. I'm happy I'm dead, bruv. Alright. Kurt Vonnegut Jr., Cat's Cradle. Another 50-cent book. Rather great shape. I actually have a phonograph record of this book. I think it's obviously abridged, but it's rather good, but I've never gotten around to reading the book, so I don't know. I mean, it's not good in that it's great, but it's interesting for a record. I don't know how it translates in novel form, but Vonnegut did a pretty good reading on the record. Vinyl record. I don't know why I said phonograph. Jacqueline Suzanne, her newly discovered novel, Yargo, a love story. Tomorrow, watch the skies. What's this, fucking alien? David, that was my beginning. Nothing important had ever happened before that. My childhood stretched behind me as a maze of unspectacular, uneventful but not unhappy years. A summer at camp and a season at dramatic school were the sole highlights. Oh yes, and winning the beauty contest at Atlantic City. It hadn't been a real contest, not the kind where judges take your measurements, nothing like that. This was just one. The hotel ran and I had one. I had a real sad matter. Shut up. Fucking rubbish. But it's worth about $12, so probably sell it. I mean, one of my main impetuses of collecting books is if I ever get fired from my job, I will have a lot of books to sell. As you can see, this is just my secondary book room. My main book room's for the... I've sequestered myself to a basement where I now live, and the books all live upstairs in luxury. Now, Frida McFadden, I don't know if this is a series. I'm guessing it is. Check out more mind-bending thrillers from New York bestselling author Frida McFadden. I actually got these from a free library. And since I think they're basically brand new, I know it's probably not a classy thing to do, but I'm going to sell them. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. I'm like, why should people have these books without me making some money off them? Ditto with this book, Such Charming Liars. Liars by Karen M. McManus, another book from this year, which I'm sure some rich suburban woman donated for the cause of literacy, even though this is, at first I think it's fireworks. There's a loud crack just as Ross Sutherland is being served a slice of cake, which seems like the right time for another showy display. But there's only one explosive pop, followed by a deafening echo. As soon as it fades, a murmur starts running through the crowd. Sounded like a car backfiring, someone says, or a gunshot, another person says with a nervous laugh. This isn't a book. As I've stated before, this is a gross misappropriation of pulp, ink, and man hours to basically entertain mostly dumb women, but I'm sure there's a few guys that read these. I don't know who. I shouldn't say dumb women, but bored women, frivolous women. Yes, frivolous we'll call them, not dumb. They're women, they're mothers and sisters and daughters and aunts and grandmothers. They're great people. They're not stupid. They're wonderful people. Just a bit misinformed about what's good. All right, bruv. Goodbye. Goodbye, bruv. Goodbye.